The Walt Disney Company in the past few years has turned against one of its own movies, striking the ability to even play the music inside its theme parks. Now, they're going after the black actor who starred in it. Unfortunately for Disney, he's also a historic figure, someone who should be celebrated, someone who was very close with Walt Disney himself. Today, we're diving deep into the latest erasure of history from the fanatics who have captured the House of Mouse. Hello folks, and happy Sunday if you're watching this video at the time of release. It is a dandy of a day to get out there and make the world a better place. We hope you're doing just that. And we know, of course, that Derek Anderson, the DA, is doing that with his YouTube channel and all of his presence perhaps, here on that great big beautiful web. Derek, welcome back to the channel, sir.
Thank you very much, Pro. Glad to be here. Love the topic for today. Let's talk about it, man.
And folks, if this is your first time getting to enjoy the intelligence and the rapport of one Derek Anderson, will get ready because he is a man on a mission to drop truth bombs everywhere he goes. Folks, make sure that you click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to Derek Anderson over on his channel. And let's get into today's content. It is a major change happening over at Disney World, and it's a sad one. It's one that I think is historically inappropriate. We'll talk about it. Here's what we have. Out of WDW News Today by Britt Tuttle, says breaking Song of the South reference removed from Walt Disney Presents at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And that title is technically correct, but I think that there's something far more significant. And folks, I would ask that you give us just a few moments of your time for us to explain this. It says the Song of the South reference previously found on one of the wall displays in Walt Disney Presents at Disney's Hollywood Studios has been removed. Goes on to say, we noticed that the reference that was previously along the gallery wall in Walt Disney Presents for the 1943 section has been removed during a recent visit to the park. You can see it's been replaced by Mr. Toad, which, well, that's a little bit of a weird thing because they also got rid of Mr. Toad, the ride, which has been an unpopular decision from Disney. That was a long time ago. The actual copy in the display for the museum remains the same. However, the visuals of the display now include Mr. Toad, and you get all that. All right, so there's the original display. Derek, where I have a serious problem with this, as far as I know, that's the only depiction of James Baskett in any of the Disney parks. And James Baskett is a very historic figure. He is the first male black actor to win an Academy Award of any kind. Not only that, but he is one of only two individuals to ever receive an Eternal Oscar. And an Eternal Oscar is the highest bestowment of prestige one can receive. They don't even give them out anymore. They retired them. But he and Ed Gwynn, that's it. They're the only two individuals to ever receive one. And the idea that you would erase him, he's such an important figure in Walt's history. And frankly, this was Walt's big effort to attempt to to heal, to repair, to bring unity to the nation, and to hopefully improve race relations. And he succeeded in as much as James Baskett won this major award. And for the time in 1943, which I think the award was given in 1948, it was you talk about taking a huge chance. The Disney studio went out on a limb. And in my opinion, this is a piece of history that should not be censored and removed. This is not part of an attraction. It's part of a museum at Disney. Derek, your thoughts on their erasure of this historic figure?
Well, I mean, they've been doing that with Song of the South, haven't they? They've been trying to erase Song of the South out of their history because they consider it troublesome. And that I don't understand why. You know, honestly, Song of the South is one of the better Disney movies that has ever come out. The way that they dealt with the race relations in that film were astounding. And of course, Zippity Dudah being one of the hallmark songs of Disney. Every time I think of Disneyland or going to a Disney park, I think of Zippity Dudah as I'm walking down Main Street. And it seems like
Derek,
they just want to erase.
Did you know, Derek, that they did you know that they're not allowed to play that anymore?
Yeah,
the live performers. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. Crazy. I mean, it's one of it's the song in my childhood that I identified the most with Disneyland. You know, I live in the Southern California area. I used to go to Disneyland all the time. And that is the song that I identified the most with Disneyland. Again, walking down Main Street, I heard that song every single time. So when I walk down Main Street and I hear Zippity Dudah, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm in Disneyland. I'm about to have a great day. And, you know, that's where Disney has completely, you know, I guess forgotten, you know, their roots, and they've forgotten what makes Disney special. The fact that
They hate their roots. They hate them.
they,
Derek,
man,
can you imagine? Can you imagine going back to the best rendition I ever heard of Zippity Doo-Dah was Ray Charles. Can you imagine if you went back 20 years and told Ray Charles, "Hey, this song that you're recording with pride of what it means and what the history behind it, it's going to be determined that it's no longer relevant and unacceptable in just
it's
a couple of decades." Yeah,
like think of the lyrics in that, you know, my, oh my, what a wonderful day. You know, positivity, you know, plenty of sunshine heading my way. That's what we need more than anything we need right now in this world that we live in, Pro. And they want to erase something like that again. A song that really, like as you spoke to, really did a lot to try to mend race relations between, you know, black and white citizens in this country. And just get rid of it. You know, it's troublesome. We don't like it because of the way that it makes certain people in Disney feel. And to me, that's the biggest sin of all. Look, James Baskett, he did a phenomenal job as Uncle Remus in Song of the South. I love that movie. I've seen it, I don't know how many times. The Brer Rabbit song, or excuse me, the Brer Rabbit Tales as well. You really sit back and think about this, Pro. The Brer Rabbit stories, as they've been trying to do their level best to erase Song of the South, the Brer Rabbit stories were stories that came over to us from the Middle Passage. Okay. It came over to us through the Middle Passage from African slavery all the way over to America. Think about that for just a minute and what that means. These people didn't have a way of writing down anything. These aren't written stories. They had to be carried on through oral tradition. Okay, so these are stories that were told orally, and people had to memorize the stories. And so these stories that originated in Africa made it all the way over to America just through oral tradition. Okay, people listening to the stories, memorizing the stories, and then passing them down. The oldest storytelling methods that we ever had. And Disney captured that in Song of the South. And now they just want to erase it. They just want to get rid of it. This is history that we're talking about. Why would you do this? I have no idea. But this is where Disney has taken their ideology. Oh, we feel so embarrassed about this.
They're fanatics, Derek.
Yes. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. This is history. We can learn from it. We can live it. We can love it, or we can hate it, whatever it is, but it is history. So go ahead and embrace the history that has been passed down to us from generations and centuries instead of trying to erase it because you feel that there's something problematic about it. History is history. Accept it for what it is. Yes, you might feel a certain way about it, but I personally, as a black man, do not care. Okay. I want to see those oral traditions that came over from Africa live on in memory. And it's funny how what they will do is they'll try to, let's, what did they replaced, Song of the South with that Splash Mountain Princess and the Frog? Is that an African story? Is that something that came over from Africa? You want to talk about doing, representation the right way? Yeah, you want to talk about doing representation the right way. You want to you care about, giving something from Africa or from a diverse perspective. Give us those stories. Brer Rabbit, it survived. And now you want to wipe it out because you feel embarrassed about it or whatever the case may be. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. So for them to take this next step, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Well, this new Snow White movie, that's what they should be embarrassed about. But Snow White is German, Cinderella is French, Brer Rabbit is African, and there's no denying it. Now, all three of those stories were Disneyfied when they became a Disney movie, because how else could they possibly be? They're made by Disney. They're Disneyfied. But the Brer Rabbit character, and some people don't know this, but the Brer Rabbit character represents a young black man of that time, and Brer Fox and Brer Bear are the stupid, oppressive figures trying to capture him. Yes. And he's outsmarting them in every way. That's the whole story. That's the whole mythos that's going on there. But Disney, they're so obtuse, and honestly, I think they know this is all wrong. But again, they are absolutely fanatical. I want to show this to you. This is in memory of James Baskett, and I think there's some important stuff here that we can take a look at. It says, born in Indianapolis and trained as a pharmacist. This was no, listen, James Baskett was no podunk fellow. This was a genius of a man. He turned his attention to acting and appeared in several movies in the 1930s and 1940s. Moving on. He had also appeared on Broadway in 1929 with Louis Armstrong in the musical revue Hot Chocolates and supplied the voice of Fats Crow in Dumbo. But he is best known for his 1946 role as Uncle Remus in Walt Disney's live-action animation movie Song of the South, and especially for its beloved song Zippity Dudah, for which he was presented an honorary Academy Award in 1948, the first black male actor to receive an Oscar. Yet due to segregation, he was unable to attend the movie's premiere in Atlanta. And Derek, I don't know if you know this, and people will not know this so long as Disney continues to erase everything surrounding it. Because he was unable to attend the movie's premiere in Atlanta, Walt Disney himself showed up to the premiere and then left and would not continue to be at the premiere because his star was not there. That is how much Walt Disney considered James Baskett to be a man that he believed in. That is how much his presence meant to him. Now, I want to go real quick, if it's okay with you and to the audience. We interviewed, just before her passing, about 3 months before she unfortunately passed, Valerie Stewart. She is the daughter of Nick Stewart, and he is the voice of Brer Bear and a friend of James Baskett. And so we had the opportunity to interview her just before her passing, and she was fighting for her father's legacy and for the legacy of people like Hattie McDaniel and James Baskett. And we told her at the time that we interviewed, we would never stop. And after she passed, I've said we will not ever stop pushing what she wanted, which was for these people to be honored, not erased, which is what Disney is doing. I'd like to play this segment of that original video for folks out there, and we'll have the link to this if you'd like to take a look at it. But here is that segment that I think is so important, and then I'll get your thoughts on this, Derek. Here we go. From Valerie Stewart again, daughter of Nick Stewart. Dad have any stories that he told about his times with James Baskett and Hattie McDaniel and others who were trailblazing pioneers at the time?
No stories, no. He mentions on his interview for the Academy, the TV Academy, that he felt that James Baskett died of a broken heart. That's what he felt. And he did say that. He also,
why did he feel that he died of a broken heart?
Because of what the NAACP was doing. They were picketing it. And incidentally, I don't know if you know, people are saying things like, what's his name? Way down south. Did I mention that to you?
We'll pause there, but Derek, the idea that people who are historical figures who they were doing their very best, they made massive inroads. I mean, Valerie's dad, Nick, took basically every dollar he received from Song of the South and poured it into something called the Ebony Theater that he owned, which was his way of bringing in tons and tons of new black actors and giving them a way to get into Hollywood. I mean, these people are heroes. And you've got James Baskett passing away of a broken heart, according to one of his dear friends. And you've got Disney continuing to erase his history and his memory. This is grotesque. It's like they're the villains of Kocho at this point. I mean, put the man's image back up somewhere in the parks. He earned it. He earned it. It's crazy.
You think about it, Pro. I mean, we live in different times now where things are more diverse and equitable and inclusive. But overall, things weren't always that way. And there were real heroes that had to take the slings and the arrows for a lot of the actors and the actresses that exist today. And it seems like Disney just wants to erase all of those achievements off the board. It's like all of this never happened. Everything was always wonderful, or everything was always a certain way. When these actors and actresses and directors and writers, everybody that came through Hollywood that had to grind their way out of that kind of a different system. The system was not what it is today. They had to do the work to bring, Hollywood to where it is now. And it seems like they just want to erase that. They want to forget about the negative past of Hollywood's history and try to hide it, to the point where, yeah, we'll go ahead and just remove James Bassett right on out of the museums. We'll erase these people from memory. Oh, they never existed. Everything was a certain way always.
It's dystopian.
It's very troubling because, you know, how else do you learn unless you learn from history? We have to see how things were in the past to learn how not to do things in the future. That's the way humanity has always moved. So if you decide that you don't want to, or you want to erase a certain corner of history, like they do with a lot of, you know, the monuments that are out there, you know, the statues, and, you know, they feel these things are troublesome. We have to erase these things from existence, but we need these things as monuments to remind ourselves of what was happening at that time.
Sure.
And
And I've
also
always argued,
see,
Derek, I've always
yeah,
argued that, you know, if you find the statues offensive, these historical items across the country, referring to the United States right now,
mhm.
then put a plaque near them that contextualizes it and explains to
Yes,
folks, you know, why certain things are wrong and, you know, how we view this today. But the idea that you simply remove history, you need the warts, because the
yes.
warts warn you where you should not go the next time.
Right. History is ugly. History is nasty. History is not pleasant. Okay. There have been problems throughout history for everybody, every culture, every country, every race. Everybody has had to deal with something. And if we try to hide from that, then we're going to lose the lessons that we learned along the way as human beings, to not do these things, to not repeat these problems. And that's the problem, is that these guys don't seem to understand that. They want to hide from their troublesome history, I guess, to make themselves look good, like that we never had these problems, or I don't know what the case may be. But the reality is that we, as a culture, as the human race, we need to see how history developed, how things played itself out. And so that's the only way that we're ever going to learn from history. And so for them to go to James Baskett, all right, again, who was a pioneer, all right, who was the first black man to win an Academy Award, to try to just erase him out of history and say, let's get this guy out of here. He's troublesome. We don't like it. We don't like ourselves attached to this. That's despicable behavior. And Disney should be called to the carpet for it every single time they do it. It is disgusting. And I'm tired of seeing this stuff happen, especially from a company like Disney. Walt Disney never would have rocked with this. He never would have approved of this. And so for this to be going down, where Walt Disney's originals, all right, these are all Walt Disney classics, and they're trying to change history. It's despicable behavior. I'm tired of it. I wish somebody over there at Disney would wake up and say, hey, you know what? Leave it alone. Okay. Splash Mountain, it was a great monument to a great story, to a great time, to a great song. Leave it alone. All right. But unfortunately, the people that are over there in charge right now at Disney, they don't seem to understand that, you know, and they're doing the detriment not only to their customers, but to the country.
Derek, let me throw this idea to you, and you tell me what you think about it. One of the dangers of erasing stuff like this, and this is one of those good things that you should not erase. There's plenty of bad stuff that you also should not erase because you need to know about it. But one of the dangers is it sanitizes history, and there is a vast ocean of history. And the portion of history up until the present where we were attempting to do this special thing that is view each other for the individual, for the character and the content of our hearts, and not based on our ancestry, not based on our ethnicity, not based on the color of skin or what have you. This is a very new and unique endeavor in human history. And if we sanitize the past and we attempt to downplay what a tremendous change this is, then we remove the adventure of trying to be brothers and sisters all across, no matter where we come from. And I think it's so special, and it's so important what we're attempting to do with the melting pot idea. I think that's the most nefarious thing of erasing all of this, is that we will forget, you know, what it is we're attempting to be better than. And it's a vast ocean of atrocities all across human history. And we don't want to go back to those ever again, because it's much better to be friends and brothers and sisters with people of all walks, of all backgrounds, just based on, are you someone that I can call a friend or not? It's a wonderful thing. It's what we should be aiming for. And we should have reminders of what it's like to not do that, because that's a hell we don't want to go back to.
Well, as they say, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And if you've erased history so no one can learn from the history, then it will be repeated. And that's the problem. You have to have history. You have to see it, warts and all. Okay. It's ugly. It's not pleasant. We understand that. We're grown, we're grown-ups. We can deal with it, but don't erase it. Okay. Because again, we won't be able to learn the lessons that history has to teach for us if we just erase it out of existence. Say, all right, we're not going to deal with our troublesome history any longer. We feel embarrassed about it. We feel bad about it, whatever the case may be. We have to learn from history. Otherwise, we will go back through these same troublesome problems that we've had throughout human history. We have to learn from it, and we have to embrace it, and we have to understand it. And even if it hurts, and even if it's troublesome, it's still there for us as a reminder of what we were and what we don't want to be again. And that's the major issue right now that we're dealing with when it comes to all of this, especially in the entertainment. Because remember, entertainment is culture, okay? Culture defines everything going forward. If your culture is rotten, okay, because you've erased history, so people aren't learning these things, and now they're reverting back, okay, now going forward, this is what you're dealing with, okay? You're dealing with the same problems that people have already gone through and conquered. But because you've erased history and we can no longer learn from those mistakes, now this is where we are. So yeah, it's very dangerous, as you said, what Disney is doing, because they don't want to remember their own troublesome past. But then honestly, Walt Disney had it right the first time. Okay, let's deal with it. Let's confront it head on and let's move forward.
You bet. Folks, Disney's not going to honor the legacy of James Baskett, apparently, Hattie McDaniel, Nick Stewart, and his daughter Valerie Stewart. But you can. Go out there in the next days, weeks ahead, and someone that you know, someone in your circle who is of a different ethnicity, doesn't matter who it might be, but if it's a truly good person, pat them on the back and say that you appreciate what they do and the way that they make the world a better place. And if you do that and you recognize people, I think that's that's something we all need. We all need to be reminded sometimes that others are watching when we attempt to do good.
Yes, sir.
Folks, the only thing we ask in return for today's video is like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And please get over there and subscribe to Derek Anderson, the DA. If you watch this video and you're not yet subscribed, I don't know what to tell you. But hey, let's add a little extra to it. Derek, what's coming up on your channel?
Well, Pro, I just crossed the 20,000 subscriber mark, so some celebrations.
I can't call you an up and rising YouTuber anymore, Derek. I can't do it.
Yeah, you can't
call me that. You're no longer a
anymore.
rising star. You're here. I knew you would be.
So some celebrations are in order. I'll be getting those ready. But as always, dropping daily videos. I'm doing the Nightcap, which is my nightly stream, usually around 10 p.m. Pacific time, 1 a.m. Eastern. So if you're up late, you have nothing better to do, and you want to hang out, look for the Nightcap. That'll be dropping most nights. And then, of course, the DA's office every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's a great time. Thank you once again, Pro, for all that you have done for my channel. You've helped me out immensely, and I appreciate it, brother.
Well, Derek, I'll just tell you, you've earned every bit of it. The very first time that I saw you, and I've said this many times, very first time I saw you on YouTube, it was Echo Based Network, and I said, he is going places. So folks, be a part of it. And thank you so much for joining us for this video. Get out there and make the world a better place. We really do mean it. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, thank you for inviting us into your day. We hope we added value. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Clickbait. Fraud. Drama queen. Ugh. I wish there was a channel that was 5 to 6 minute news reads without the drama, frauds, and clickbait that could accurately let me know the current news, providing my crucial context utilizing all the different That Park Place contributors and creators.
Well, stupid. There is. It's the That Park Place YouTube channel, which will be going live real soon, so make sure you're subscribed so you can really stick it to the algorithms.
You're joking.
Nope.